All right, so today we are here with Kim Marshall. Kim is the LCC preschool director at Low Country Community Church. And so really excited to chat today, Kim.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, could you just tell me a bit about kind of your background, like what called you into ministry and how did you find your current role at Low Country?
Sure. So I have a degree in elementary and special education, and I was a
Awesome.
teacher for 8 years. After our third child was born, I decided that I wanted to stay home and be a mom. I really wanted to be a mom to my three kids. Well,
Mhm.
God did not have that in his plans for me. Um, and this is all while we lived in Pennsylvania. We were attending a smaller church, and our pastor approached me about becoming the kids assistant there.
Okay.
And it was preschool through fourth grade. I said, no,
Mm.
I don't think I'm interested. I don't think I'm ready for this. But, Chris, something kept nudging me, and it was someone kept nudging me that, you really should look at doing this. I think you can do this. So I joined their staff in 2007 and was the preschool assistant and did some
Mhm.
elementary for a couple of years. And then we moved down to South Carolina.
Okay.
We church shopped for a while. And um, after, after a few short weeks, we found Low Country Community Church. And um, loved the children's program that they had there. My three kids all grew up in LCC Kids,
Awesome.
and I wanted to get back into serving. I didn't want a paid position. I just wanted to volunteer and serve. So I started in the 2-year-old room, and again, God had other plans for me. I did that for a year, really enjoyed it, and was approached by, at that time, the preschool coordinator. And she asked if I was interested in taking on that position because she was leaving. And I said, nope,
Mm.
not going to do it. Nope, just like what I'm doing right now, like being a mom, didn't really have a lot of time to stay at home with my kids. And I kept hearing this voice in my head telling me, no, you really should consider doing this. And so I interviewed, and in 2009, I took on the role as the preschool coordinator, did that
Awesome.
for 12 years, and just came on as the preschool director this past year. So that's kind of my story with how I got involved in the ministry here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is great. So thank you for sharing, Kim. And yeah, it's if God has plans, His plans will fulfill themselves, whether we like it or not. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. But and that's kind of a common thread I've seen with a lot of folks in ministry is, hey, I really wasn't planning on getting involved in a staff position in the church, but kind of felt called to it. So, what advice would you have to someone that isn't? They're kind of on the fence. It's like, feel like I should, but kind of feel like I shouldn't. What
Sure.
advice would you have someone in kind of at that crossroads there?
Um, I would probably tell them to really listen, because if God has a plan for him, his plan is going to
Mhm.
come through. I feel like if you're on the fence, um, actually, I have a friend who is on the fence about coming into ministry here, and I said, if your heart is telling you that this is what you should do, and you enjoy volunteering and being a part of the ministry, then absolutely you should pursue that.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, could not agree more. And it's always great that you're supporting your friend, as you mentioned. If someone that's on the fence, definitely supporting them and saying, "Hey, we
Yes.
are here to help. If you make this transition, is great because it's a big move for someone to transfer from one role outside of ministry into ministry. So
It is.
supporting them is the way to go.
And you know what, Chris, I think doing ministry on a Sunday morning versus being in ministry like during the week and on a Sunday morning, it's different. You know, it's not a bad, it's just it's just a different thing. But if people love it, like I love it. Absolutely love coming to work and doing my job.
Yes, I'm kind of curious, what are some of the biggest differences you've noticed that you'd want someone to know about if they're considering going from, hey, volunteering on the weekends to serving, you know, week long in kids ministry? Like, what are some of the big differences you see?
Truth, to be honest, I think a lot of responsibility. It's different when you're showing up to serve, and we could not do our ministry without our volunteers. They play a huge role in what we do. But when I was serving, when I was done, I was able to leave, and it was and the next group came in, or I just kind of finished out the morning for them. When you're involved personally in ministry, I think it's a little bit different in that you have to make sure that your rooms are staffed. If you're shorthanded, you're running around like trying to. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to find that coverage. And I even find now, if I have the opportunity, excuse me, to sit in service on a Sunday morning, my mind is thinking about what's going on in the back. Is everything running okay? So typically I will listen to our message on Monday or Tuesdays when I don't have those other things on my mind that I have to think about in the back.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, totally feel that. When you have a calling instead of a job, you definitely do think more about that, like at all times of the day.
Yes.
That is certainly for sure. So, pulling on that thread, you know, you mentioned you've been involved in the kids ministry for a while, both in a volunteering and full time perspective. What are some tips you have for kids teams on, you know, just having an engaging experience, you know, where volunteers feel supported, where, you know, kids are learning and loving and growing in a relationship with God? Like, what tips do you have there?
Sure. So I really, I'll start with volunteers first. And I find my volunteers really are part of my passion, as well as the kids are on Sunday morning. I want them to be fed. I want them to feel loved. I want them to know that they are appreciated. So in my, we do Sunday morning huddles, and if someone tells me something that's going on, and it doesn't have to be any big deal or whatever, but just making sure, like, hey, we're buying a new house, making sure that I'm following up with them, asking, you know, how did the sale of the house go? Or, you know, do you need any help, or what can we do for you? That sort of thing. So trying to keep the volunteers engaged, knowing how much they are appreciated. As far as the kids go, just engaging them on Sunday mornings, being prepared. And really, Chris, that's why we love Playlister here. We really do. Just the I can sit at my computer. Like the other night, I was working on stuff for Vacation Bible School, and I was able to do it from home and program the TVs that I needed with certain material. I didn't have to worry about running around, and I am a smaller person. And I say that because I'm constantly running around. I used to run around with my step ladder, trying to pull all of the USBs out. And download the material, then unplug that, then plug another one in. Whereas with Playlister, I do have more time to think about ministry and what I'm doing for my kids as well as my families.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate that feedback very much, Kim. That is why we built Playlister originally at our church, and then excited to share it with
Yes.
others, because it really, you're in ministry for ministry, not, like you said, ladders and USB sticks. That's like, hey, that wasn't in the job description. Like, where did
Exactly.
this come from? But yeah, so we appreciate the chance to help. And you mentioned that it's important to be able to support your team and be able to kind of work flexibly, like do stuff remotely, like scheduling everything for the TVs. What are some kind of values and systems you operate by in your church to make sure that everyone is kind of executing per se on everything, getting everything done and set and rolling and stuff?
Sure. So I really do operate by doing everything to the best of my ability, like not doing it, well, I'll just do a little bit of, do you know what I mean? Putting my whole heart and soul into what I'm doing, and letting my volunteers know, letting the kids know just how much, like I said before, how much I love them and care for them. And I love if I'm out at the grocery store or something, and one of my preschoolers, who might be 3 or 4, sees me and comes running up to me and gives me a hug. Obviously, they know how much I care for them and appreciate
Absolutely.
them. So
awesome. Well, yeah, that is a great example, and it's great to see that as well, because you don't always get a such a clear message that, hey, everything you're doing, well, obviously it matters and it's important, but it can be kind of tiring sometimes. It's like, oh well, so this week, there weren't any kids hugging me in the grocery store. Like, hey, some weeks are harder than others. So what advice would you have for people that they've been in ministry in a while and they're feeling like kind of burnt out and stuff?
I would tell them to just keep on going, keep on plugging through. Maybe if they're able to, just take a couple of days off for themselves to kind of regenerate and reboot. And always, I feel like having a good support system, just having a good support system around them, be it another team member, be it their pastor, be it their best friend who's not in ministry. But I do feel like I am blessed. I have an awesome support system. Our administrative pastor is constantly telling us, you guys are working really, really hard, and it shows. And I'm not saying to false boost us up, or do you know what I mean? Like false build us up. But I even struggle with being a perfectionist and being afraid to try new things. But if you don't try, you don't know. If you don't know, you won't learn. So you've got to keep building and trying and learning.
Absolutely. Could not agree more there. And yeah, definitely showing appreciation for your team and supporting them is important. So yeah, with that, pulling on that thread, what are some of your long-term and short-term ministry goals right now?
Sure. So some of my short-term ministry goals are just to, I want to make LCC kids the best hour of the kids' week. I want them to, short-term goals, I want them to be one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why their parents are coming to church. I love whenever a family comes up to me and says, we weren't really sure if we were going to come today, but Hudson said we needed to go to church. I need to be in my class with my friends. So yeah, just having them want to be here. And I love whenever we have a child who enters the room and they're crying, not that I love them crying, but I love, they come in crying because they're a little bit nervous, they're a little bit afraid. And then by the time mom or dad comes and picks them up, they're crying because they don't want to leave. It's just a good,
Absolutely.
yeah. So those are some short term, just to make it the best hour of every week. And this is it's a new position in the fact that I'm more in leadership now. So just trying to make sure that I'm keeping in touch with the kids and the families and everything. And then some long-term goals, just to continue to grow our ministry, to have 5 new families show up a week and consistently stay with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like how you put a number on that as well. Like a lot of people say, hey, our goal is to grow our ministry. Well, what's that mean? The 5 new families a week. I love that. And yeah, that is spectacular. So thank you for sharing those goals, Kim. And what other kind of final advice do you have for kids pastors while we're on here today?
Sure. Love what you do and do what you love. Really love, yeah, just love what you do. There's not a day that I come to work and I feel like, oh, I've got to go do this. Find the joy in what you're doing. Make sure you do get burnt out sometimes and you have a lot on your plate. So just make sure you have that someone that you can go to ask for help, or just, just again, a support person to come alongside you.
Yep, could not agree more. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you should give up. Maybe it just means take a rest right now. So absolutely, we'll definitely keep going. It's great advice. So thank you, Kim, for sharing so much today. Sure. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.